Chapter 19. Then we rode in the Mercedes to a bar down a back street in Azabu. We took seats at one end of the counter and had a few more drinks. Gotanda could hold his liquor. He didn't show the least sign of inebriation, not in his color or his speech. He went on talking about the inanity of the TV stations, about the lame brain directors, and about the no talents who made you want to throw up, about the so called critics on news shows. He was a good storyteller, he was funny, and he was incisive. He wanted to hear about me, what sort of turns my life had taken, so I proceeded to relate snippets of the saga. The office I set up with a friend and then quit, the personal life, the freelance life, the money, the time, taken in gloss, and altogether said almost still life. It hardly seemed to be my own story. The bar began to fill up, making conversation difficult. People were all ogling. Gotanda's famous face. "Let's get out of here. Come over to my place," he said, rising to his feet. "It's close by and empty, and there's drink." His condo proved to be a mere 2 or 3 turns of the Mercedes away. He gave the driver the rest of the night off, and we went in, impressive, with 2 elevators, one requiring a special key. "The agency bought me this place when I got thrown out of my house," he said. "They couldn't have their star broke and living in a dump. Bad for the image. Of course, I pay rent. On a formal level, I lease the place from the office, and the rent gets deducted from expenses. Perfect symmetry." It was a penthouse condo with a spacious living room and 2 bedrooms and a veranda with a view of Tokyo Tower. Several Persian rugs on the hardwood floor, ample sofa, not too hard, not too soft. Large potted plants, postmodern Italian lighting, very little in the way of decorator frills. Only a few Ming Dynasty plates on the sideboard, GQ and architectural journals on the coffee table, and not a speck of dust. Obviously, he had a maid too. "Nice place," I said with understatement. "You leave things to an interior designer and it ends up looking like this. Something you want to photograph, not live in. I have to knock on the walls to make sure they are not props. Antiseptic, no scent of life." "Well, you got to spread your scent around." "The problem is, I haven't got one," he voiced expressionlessly. He put a record on a Bang & Olufsen turntable and lowered the cartridge. The speakers were old favorite JBL P88s, the music an old Bobby Cooper LP. "What will you have?" he asked. "Whatever you're drinking," I said. He disappeared into the kitchen and returned with vodka and soda and ice and sliced lemons. As the cool, clean West Coast jazz filtered through the glorified bachelor pad, I couldn't help thinking, antiseptic or not, the place was comfortable. I sprawled on the sofa, drink in hand, and felt utterly relaxed. "So, out of all the possibilities, here I am," Gotanda addressed the ceiling light, drink in hand also. "I could have been a doctor. In college, I got my teaching credentials, but this is how I end up, with this lifestyle. Funny, the cards were laid out in front of me. I could have picked any one. I could have done all right, whatever I choose. Not a doubt in my mind, all the more reason not to make a choice." "I never got to see the cards," I said in all honesty, which elicited a laugh from Gotanda. He probably thought I was joking. He refilled our glasses, squeezed a lemon, and tossed the rind into the trash. Even my marriage was by default, almost. We were in the same frame and went on the location together. We got friendly and went on drives. Then after filming was over, we dated a couple of times. Everyone thought what a nice couple we made. So we thought, yeah, what a nice couple we make. Let's get married. Now I don't know if you realize it, but the film industry is a small world. It's like living in a tenement of at one end of a back alley. Not only do you see everybody's dirty laundry, but once rumors start, you can't stop them. All the same, I did like her, truly. She was the best thing I ever laid hands on. That really came home to me after we got married. I tried to make it last, but it was no go. The second I make a conscious choice, I chase the thing away. But if I'm on the receiving end, if it's not me that's making the decision, like it seems like I can't lose. I didn't say anything. "I'm not looking on the dark side," he said. "I still love her. Maybe that's the problem. I still think of her, how it might have been if we both had given up acting and settled down to a quiet life. Wouldn't need a condo that looked like this. Wouldn't need a Maserati. None of that. Only a decent job and our own little place. Kids. After work, I'd stop somewhere for a beer and let off steam, then home to the wife. A Civic or Subaru on installment. That's the life. That would be everything I needed if she was there. but it's not going to happen. She wanted something different. And her family, don't get me started on them anyway. I guess some things just don't work out. But you know what? I slept with her last month. With your former wife? Yup. Do you think that's normal? I don't think that's abnormal, I said. She came here. I couldn't figure out what for. She rings up, wants to drop by. Of course, I say. So we're drinking, the two of us, just like old times, and we end up in bed together. It was great. She told me she still liked me, and I told her how I wished we could start all over again, but she didn't say anything to that. She just listened and smiled. I started going on about having a normal life, a regular home, like I was telling you now. And she listened and smiled, but she wasn't really listening. She didn't hear a word of it. It was like talking to a wall, futile. She was feeling lonely and wanted to be with someone. I happened to be available. Not a nice thing to say about yourself, but it's true. She's a world apart from somebody like you or me. For her, loneliness is something you have others remove for you. And once it's gone, everything's okay. Doesn't go any further. I can't live that way. The record finished, he raised the cartridge and stood thinking in silence for a moment. What do you think about calling in some girls? He asked. Fine by me, whatever you want, I said. You never bought a woman? He asked. Never, I told him. How come? Never occurred to me, I said honestly. Gotenda shrugged his shoulders. Well, tonight, I think you should. Play along with me, okay? He said. I'll ask for the girl who came with Kiki. She might know something about her. I'll leave it up to you, I said. But don't tell me you can write it off as expenses. He laughed as he refilled his glass. You won't believe it, but I can. There's a whole system. This place has this front as a party service, so they can make out this very legitimate receipts. Sex as business gifts and entertainment. Amazing, huh? Advanced capitalism, I said. While watching for the girls to arrive, Kiki and her fabulous ears came to mind. I asked Gotenda if he had ever seen them. Her ears? He said, puzzled. No, I don't think so, or if I did, I don't remember. What about her ears? Oh, nothing, I told him. It was past 12 when the girls arrived. One was Gotenda's stunningly beautiful companion to Kiki, and really she was stunning, the sort of woman who'd linger in your memory even if she never spoke a word to you. Not glitter and glamour, but refinement. Under her coat she wore a green cashmere sweater and an ordinary wool skirt. Simple earrings, no other adornment, very well-bred university girl. The other woman wore glasses and soft collared dress. She wasn't beautiful like her companion. She was more what you would call appealing and fresh, with long legs and slender arms, and tan as if she'd spent the last week on the beach in Guam. Her hair was short and neatly pinned up. She wore silver bangles that played on her wrist with her brisk movements, her flesh trim and taut like a sleek carnivore. Memories of high school came to mind. These two distinct types were to be found in any class, the elegant beauty and the quick-witted mink. It was like being at a reunion, especially with Gotenda there, so relaxed and effervescent. He seemed to have slept with both of them before, so it was all, hey there, how's it going? Gotenda introduced me as a former schoolmate, now a writer. Both smiled warmly. Fine, we're all friends here, smiles. We sat on the floor with brandy and sodas, Joe Jackson and the Alan Parsons Project playing in the background. Gotenda put on his dentist act for the girl in the glasses. Then he whispered something to her and she giggled. The beauty was leaning on my shoulder and holding my hand. Her scent was lovely. She was every man's, every boy's dream. The high school girl you'd always wanted, now come back years later. Always liked you, though I didn't know how to tell you at the same time. Why didn't you try to reach me? I put my arm around her and she gently closed her eyes, seeking out my ear with the tip of her nose. She kissed me lightly on the neck, breathing softly. Then I noticed that Gotenda and his girl weren't around. Why didn't I turn the lights down a bit? My co-ed could. I got up and switched off the overhead lights, leaving only a low table lamp on. Bob Dylan was droning It's All Over Now, Baby Blue. Undress me nice and slow, she whispered into my ear. So I took off first her sweater, then her skirt, then her blouse and stockings. Out of reflex, I almost started to fold her things, but then realized that in this scene, there was no need to do that. She in turn undressed me, Armani tie, Levi's t-shirt. She stood before me in a scanty bra and panties. Well, what do you think? She asked with a smile. Super, I said. She had a beautiful body, full, brimming with life, clean and sexy. How super? She wanted to know. If you tell me better, I'll do you the best ever. It's like old times. Takes me back to the high school. Takes me back to high school. I was being honest. She squinted curiously, then smiled. Unique, I'll say that. Did I say something wrong? Not at all, she said. Then she came over next to me and did things nobody in my 34 years had ever done for me. Delicate and yet daring, things you don't think of so readily. But somebody obviously had. The tension slipped out of my body as I closed my eyes, giving myself over to the flow of sensations. This was utterly different from any sex I had known before. Not bad, huh? She said, whispering again. Not bad, I agreed. It put my mind at ease like the best music, released the pockets of tension from my being, sent my temporal senses into limbo. Instead, there was a quiet intimacy, a blending of time and space, a perfect self contained form of communication. And to think it was tax deductible. Not bad, I said again. What was Dylan going on about now? A hard rain's a gonna fall. She snuggled into the crook of my arm. What a world, where you can sleep with gorgeous women while listening to Bob Dylan and then write off the whole works. Unthinkable in the 60s. It's all just images, I found myself thinking. Pull out the plug and it'll all go away. A 3D sex scene, complete with eau de cologne, soft touche fili, hot breath. I followed the expected course. I came, then we took a shower. We returned to the living room, wrapped in oversized towels, to listen to Dire Straits and sip some brandy. She asked me about my work and what kind of things I wrote. I explained briefly and she said how uninteresting. Well, it depends, I told her. What I did was shovel cultural snow, to which she responded that her work was to shovel sensual snow. I had to laugh. But wouldn't I like to shovel some more snow right about now? And so we rolled over on the carpet and made love again. This time very simply, very slowly, and she knew just how to please me. Uncanny. Later, both lying full length in Gotenda's luxurious tub, I asked her about Kiki. Kiki, she said. Now there's a name I haven't heard in a while. You know Kiki? She pursed her lips like a child and tried to think. She's not anywhere now. She's just disappeared all of a sudden. We were pretty close too. Sometimes we'd go out shopping and drinking together. Then without warning she was gone. A month, maybe 2 months ago. But that's not so unusual. You don't need to hand in a formal resignation in this line of work. If you want to quit, you quit. You don't have to tell anyone. I'm sorry she left. We were friends. But that's how it goes. We're not Girl Scouts after all, she said, stroking my thigh and cock with her long, graceful fingers. Have you slept with Kiki? There was a time we lived together, 4 years ago. 4 years ago, she said with a smile. That's ancient history. 4 years ago, I was still in high school. I let it pass. You know of any way I could get to see Kiki? Pretty difficult, I'd say. I honestly don't have any idea where she went. It's like I told you, she just up and left. Practically vanished into a blank wall. Haven't a clue how you'd go about looking for her. So you still got a thing for her? I stretched out in the tub and looked up at the ceiling. Was I still in love with Kiki? I don't know, but that's almost beside the point now. I just have to see her. Something's been telling me Kiki wants to see me. I keep dreaming about her. Strange, she said, looking me in the eye. I sometimes dream about Kiki too. What sort of dreams? She didn't reply. She only smiled and said she'd like another drink. She rested against my chest and I threw my arm around her naked shoulder. Gotenda and his girl showed no sign of emerging from the bedroom, asleep, supposed. I know you won't believe me, she then said, but I like being with you like this. I enjoy it. No business, no acting. It's the truth. I believe you, I said. I'm enjoying myself too. I feel really relaxed. It's like class reunion. Unique again, she giggled. About Kiki, I pressed on. Isn't there anyone who'd know? Her real name, her address, that sort of thing? She shook her head slowly. We almost never talk about those things. Why else would we bother with these names? She was Kiki. I'm May, the other girl's Mammy. Everyone's 4 letters or less. It's our cover. Private life is out of bounds. We don't know and we don't ask. Manners, you know. We're all real friendly and we go out together sometimes, but it's not really us. We don't actually know each other. May, Kiki, these names don't have real lives. We're all image. Signs stacked up in empty air. That's why we respect each other's illusions. Does that make sense? Perfect sense, I said. Some of our customers take pity on us, but we don't do just for the money. Me, for example, I do it because it's fun and because the club is strictly for members only. We don't have to worry about crazies. Everyone wants to have fun with us. After all, we're in this made-up world together. Shoveling snow for fun of it? I threw in. Right, shoveling snow for fun, she laughed, then putting her lips to my chest, sometimes even snowball fights. May, I said her name over again. I once knew a girl whose name really was May. She worked as a receptionist at the dentist next to my office, from the farming family up in Hokkaido. Skinny dark, everyone called her May, the goat girl. May, the goat girl, she repeated. And your name? Winnie the Pooh, I said. Our own little fairy tale. I drew her to me and kissed her. It was a heady kiss, a nostalgic kiss. Then we drank our upteenth brandy and soda and snuggled together while listening to the police. Soon May had drifted off to sleep, no longer the beautiful dream woman, but only an ordinary, brittle young girl. A class reunion. The clock read 4 o'clock and everything was still. May the goat girl and Winnie the Pooh images. Deductible fairy tales. What a day. Connections that almost connected but didn't. Follow the string until it snaps. I'd met Gotanda after all these years, even come to like him, really. Through him I'd met May the goat girl. We made love, which was wonderful, shoveled sensual snow, but none of it led anywhere. I made some coffee and 6:30 the others woke up. May had on a bathrobe. Mami came in wearing a paisley pajama top and Gotanda at the bottom. I was in my jeans and t-shirt. We all took seats at the dining table and passed around the toast and marmalade. The FM station was playing Baroque for You, a Henry Purcell pastoral. Morning at camp, I said. Cuckoo, sang May. At 7:30, Gotanda called a taxi for the girls. May kissed me goodbye. If you find Kiki, give her my best, I said. I handed her my card and asked her to call if she learned anything. Hope we can meet again and shovel some more snow, she winked. Shovel snow? Gotanda asked. Gotanda and I sat down to another cup of coffee. It was like a commercial. A quiet morning, sun rising, Tokyo Tower gleaming in the distance. Tokyo begins its morning with Nescafe. Time for normal people to be starting their day. Not for us, though. Like it or not, we too were excluded. Find out anything about Kiki? Asked Gotanda. I shook my head. Only that she disappeared. Just like you said, no leads, not a clue. May didn't even know her real name. I'll ask around the film company, he said. Maybe somebody knows something. He pouted slightly and pressed at his temple with the handle of his coffee spoon. He sure was good at it. But tell me, what do you plan to do if you find her? He asked. Try to win her back, or is it just for old times? I told him I didn't know. I hadn't thought that far. Gotanda saw me home in his spotless brown Maserati. Mind if I call you again soon? He said. It was really terrific seeing you. Don't know anyone else I can talk to like we did. That is, if it's okay by you. Of course, I said, and I thanked him again for the steak and drinks and girls, and he gave a quiet shake of his head. Without a word, I understood everything he meant to say.